I don't do nags. You'll see a lot of guys on Twitter using nags in their strategy. I first heard about nags from Tom Likas, who had the #1 radio show in Los Angeles in the early 2000s. And I'm convinced most of these guys don't have real world experience. They just repeat what they heard on Twitter. Rather, I'm memorable. I notice things that nobody else notices. I'm not afraid to say it. One of my former models, I made cry in a good way. We were up late one night just drinking. I actually got more personally interested in her life than her own husband. And they're now divorced, which shouldn't surprise me one bit. Now, my model Roxy, I don't want to dox Roxy, obviously. You already know she's a smoking hot Latina with a pretty face, large natural boobs, and perfect, absolutely perfect hip to waist measurements. You also know her hair almost reaches her butt if you see my artwork. What you don't know is that she's smart. I mean, really, really smart. Why does this matter? Listen to this part closely. Throughout high school and college, well, she dropped out of college, she didn't finish, but throughout high school and the college that she did take, she got really good grades. And she dropped out of college to get married and had her first kid young. She's fluent in 3 languages. You already guessed English and Spanish, but she also speaks Italian like a native because she's just super smart. She picked it up really fast. Why does this matter? Because her parents treated her like a bookworm. She wanted to be sexy. That's when I saw this shy, pretty Latina girl. I knew her weakness. Unlike the dorks on Twitter, I didn't go in for a nag, rather a compliment. She's looking at my artwork. This is when we were in the coffee shop. We used to frequent a coffee shop because we were not neighbors, but lived pretty close to each other. And she's looking through my artwork and she's like, these drawings of Allie are so beautiful. You're just as beautiful as Allie. No, I'm not. Sweetheart, you're a 10. I know your parents try to hide it, but you should really be modeling, not wasting time in college just to make your parents happy. People are a lot easier to read than you realize. It just takes practice. If you need practice, go to a public area. An outdoor cafe is perfect, but it has to have foot traffic. You can't go to some place that doesn't have any foot traffic, but an outdoor cafe is perfect, or a park where people are sitting on blankets. And yes, I know it's a lot harder. Post-COVID, half the country are social retards nowadays. I know it's harder today, but it is still possible. But do this and people watch. It's best with a beautiful woman who's used to being hit on because they're the best people to people watch. Observe body language and observe how people respond to each other. And after a while, you'll begin to notice who's sleeping with whom, who's striking out, who's interested in whom, who's not interested in whom, who wishes the other person was interested, who's needy, and who's sick of whom. You'll notice all this stuff just by watching. Then, apply what you've learned to your game. You'll notice that if a guy is too needy, she pulls away. However, if the guy is super into his own passions, she's into him. Remember when I mentioned the smoking hot working class chick who's in love with the kid who's in love with his truck? Looks are everything on women. On men, they're overrated. A charismatic, driven man with a goofy face will do circles around a needy, boring man with a handsome face. That needs to sink in for some of you all out there. I can't believe how hard that is to understand. Let me say this again. A charismatic, driven man with a goofy face will do circles around a needy, boring man with a handsome face. Those looks maxers are fucking idiots. Pardon my French. But they're fucking idiots. There's a reason why they're striking out. It ain't about looks. It's never been about looks with men. With women, yes, it's about looks. But those looks maxers are thinking like women. Because they're thinking how they think, so they completely get everything wrong. You rarely hear that on Twitter because those dorks don't leave the house. They simply repeat their circle jerk friends rather than doing the actual work. Another thing that you need to know. Women will tell you what they want you to know. Women tell you what they want you to know. It's up to you to listen. And sometimes that means reading between the lines. Beautiful women have heard she's beautiful a million times. Tell her she's hot and that's now 1,000,001. Guess what? You're now just like every other guy. But find something she wishes she was smart about and her eyes will light up. The reverse with Roxy. Her parents wanted her to be the first in the family with a college degree. She got good grades to please her parents. Not for herself. She got the good grades to please her parents. And I read that right away by seeing her body language. She wanted to be seen as beautiful like the other beautiful girls. But when your parents buy you unflattering clothes intentionally, you get seen as that nerdy girl. It took an artist like me to get her clothes off and uncover her beauty. Learn to pay attention, and when you do, you'll be unstoppable.